So good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be again for the third time with all of you and to open this General Assembly. I have to admit that my appearances at our General Assemblies give me a great pleasure. I feel a strong bond and special connection with the people here, and even the people who are not here today, but who are with us in spirit. We are all here for the same important reason. As you know, I was elected 3 years ago as president of CISAC. I have been proud to carry with me the CISAC flag everywhere. And lots of work has been done. First of all, raising the awareness of the importance of creators and authors all over the world. Secondly, probably also one of the most important things to my heart is to reinforce our links with Africa. One voice of Africa certainly is the equivalent of 10 voices coming from Europe or America. Also with South America, we know that in Brazil, the situation, like in lots of other countries, the government probably didn't understand exactly the importance of protecting authors and creators. So we tried also to improve the situation also over there. And obviously, with China, we opened recently an office in China, and it's obviously a very strong step ahead, a very strong progress. And because China, after having been probably one of the country when we're the worst country in terms of respecting or not respecting rights on the internet especially, became probably suddenly one of the example we should follow. And it's a very good opportunity for me to welcome my friend, the Chinese director, Jia Zhangke, as a new vice president, joining the vice president's team with Angelique Kidjo, Ousmane Sow, and Marcelo Pinheiro. We also have done a lot of work to make the concept of private copy something which could be one solution, not the only one, but one of the main solutions. Also to expand and promote the idea of the following rights for all graphic artists and painters all over the world. We also, as CISAC, been closely working with different author societies and more specifically with SACEM and Jean-Noël Tron to put together this study, this EY study, showing actually that creative industries are one of the most important and the most powerful activity in the world. I mean, before the car industry, before the fashion industry, and some people could say, if these industries are so powerful, why are we complaining? We are complaining, not complaining, but we are raising the point that actually, which is the nucleus of these creative industries are the authors. And the authors have never been, as a paradox, as fragile, as vulnerable as we've been in the past. So obviously so much work still has to be done, and of course if you feel that I may be useful, I'm ready eventually to be your president for another term. I consider my responsibility every time I talk on behalf of millions of creators, and in particular it is in meetings like today, this General Assembly, which also marks the 90th anniversary of CISAC, that my responsibility takes a new meaning. We are 90 years old. That's quite a landmark. 90 years old this month, a small group of people from societies around the world met here in Paris. They gathered for a meeting at the invitation of CISAC, the oldest society in the world, who started as the Bureau de Législation Dramatique in 1777 by Pierre-Augustin Caron de Beaumarchais. This gathering in 1926 was meant to be the first international congress of authors' societies. It became the founding event of what would become CISAC. At this meeting in 1926, SACD's chairman, the poet André Rivoire, played a key role. He described the people gathering in Paris as this powerful syndicate of the forces of intelligence. I love his wording, the forces of intelligence. You know that I like to say that the smart part in smartphones is us. Well, Rivoire was even less modest than me. You are the representatives of creators worldwide. Our mission, our raison d'être, is to celebrate the beauty of intelligence, of culture and creation. We cherish creation, we recognize its importance, and we spread this message throughout the world. In the 90 years that have passed since CISAC was created, the organization has progressed significantly. We've come a long way. This was not just a small advancement or leap that we achieved. It was quantum leap. Today we have 230 societies around the world. We speak for creators from every corner of this planet. We talk to governments. We talk with international organizations. We talk to the media. CISAC promotes standards and best practices for societies. And CISAC develops technologies that help societies do their job better for creators like me. It is hard to imagine a world without CISAC today. It is hard to imagine societies doing what they do without CISAC. The organization has been revolutionary in almost everything that it did. The founders of CISAC understood that protection of authors depends on coordination. They understood that it depends on cooperation among them. And they understood that protection of authors is something that's international, that it must be approached from a global perspective. When you think about the fact that all of this happened in a world where there was no TV, hardly any radio broadcasting, certainly there was no internet, when you think about that, you realize just how revolutionary it was to talk about reciprocal representation and international cooperation for the production of creators in the 1920s. So, today we are in 120 countries with 230 societies and 4 million creators. Aside from the United Nations, I can think of very few organizations like ours that are so international. You may know that I have been quite busy lately creating music, spending days and nights in my studio, preparing one of the most ambitious projects in a very long time for me. And with this project, I collaborated with many artists from different continents and from different backgrounds and music genres. All of the artists I worked with shared with me their talent and creativity, because culture is something that we share. It is something that was meant to be shared, because it is part of our identity and who we are. What the artists I collaborated with also shared with me are their concerns about today's music industry, their uncertainty about the future. I worked with famous and established artists. I also worked with young and promising ones. Many of them feel that there is something wrong in the way in which artists are treated today. Creators are not treated with fairness. This is something that I, in my role as your president, have been trying to address and to raise awareness to. I feel it is my mission, my duty, and my responsibility. 2 days ago, the French Prime Minister invited us, a delegation of CISAC, to a reception at the Hôtel Matignon. It was a very special and memorable event. And it was a great opportunity to remind everyone how it all started, how long we have come, and how important it is to protect culture. As you know, as UNESCO ambassador for 25 years, I used that occasion to remind everyone about the UNESCO Convention on Cultural Diversity. This convention, which was signed in 2005, is extremely important for our culture, for creation around the world and for the diversity of cultural expressions. Today, with the challenges we are facing and the difficulty of protecting culture online, we need to secure the future of culture and creativity more than ever. We need to use every tool that we have to protect the future of creators, and the UNESCO Convention is an excellent tool for that. We need to find ways to expand the principles of that convention to online protection and to use it to deal with all the challenges that we are having today in protecting our cultural and our creators. It was really great to see the French Prime Minister Manuel Valls talking about the need to protect creators in very strong words. He said that France would take any necessary measures to protect creators online. We need more commitments like this from the highest levels of decision makers around the world in every country. We need to send a wake-up call to the many politicians who have not yet come to realize that our future, their future, and the future of creativity is at risk. We must shape the world for the next generation of creators. I said earlier that culture is about sharing. We share culture, and it is only natural that we would like to share the creative expressions that define our culture. But we must also remind everyone that from traditional broadcasters to new digital services of these words, that sharing is not just about sharing content. It is also about revenues, sharing revenues with the creators. Platforms that share culture generate revenue, substantial revenue, gigantic revenue. Many artists are speaking up these days against YouTube and user-generated content services. User-generated content platform, what is it that they generate? They generate not only content, they generate profits. These profits should be shared with the ones who created the content. Actually, we are in fact virtual shareholders of these companies. We have today a situation of a transfer of value from those who create to those who disseminate the creations. We must balance the picture, and we must make sure that values make its way to those who created it, the creators. I strongly believe that we are entering in a new age where the creators will be at the center of the system. It is an era where we can reclaim our rights and be empowered. Creators will always remain creators with the urge to paint, compose, or write. That will not change. Artists were actually existing before electricity, and they will still exist after the internet. What will change is probably the way these works are used, accessed, and reach their public. New technologies will continue to open up new opportunities and continue to challenge us. Think about mashups. It is easy to discard the notion of mashups, but no kids today, this is a form of creation. But to kids today, this is a form of creation. It is up to us to find solutions that will make it work in a way that neither our rights nor their will to create will be diminished. Who knows how the creative field of tomorrow would look like? It could combine elements of audio and video in ways we do not consider today, and can take place in new frameworks such as virtual reality technology, for instance. New technologies can open up new landscapes, new dimensions. It can also open big cans of copyright worms. I'm sure that we have a lot of tasks ahead, and that copyright will have to be adjusted and updated to adapt to the seismic changes that we will see. What I have no doubt about is that, like 200 years ago, collective management will continue to be the foundation for creators' protection. Yes, we will have to adapt, like we did when radio arrived, when TV was invented, or when we started having digital distribution of creative works. We survived many technological changes. We creators went through small and big revolutions, and we always stood on our feet. You know, I have never met a user who thought he is paying too little to use creative works. I also never met a creator who thinks his society pays him too much. I can guarantee you that this situation will continue, regardless of the technology. We have a journey ahead of us, which is going to be exciting, but also packed with new challenges as we navigate through the fields of the future. We, and I mean creators and societies, have to be adaptable, creative, and proactive. Most importantly, we have to stick together. We have to make sure that we develop our relationship with users. That is the basis for everything. We need to make users more accountable, more attentive to our interests, and more responsible. Data, I believe, is going to be the most crucial component in the future creative ecosystem. It already is, and will only increase in importance. We have to realize that. We need to make the best use of data to track the use of works and help with accurate payments to creators. We have to embrace technology in a way that would promote our interests, a way that would work for us. We have to continue talking to decision makers, because this is the only way to secure their understanding, sympathy, and support. We have to continue talking with the general public to get their attention and to make them aware of the importance we creators play in society, in culture, in the economy. Our rendezvous with our audience has to come from a place of mutual respect and understanding of each other. The role of societies will evolve, that is for sure. They maybe even go through a metamorphosis. But one thing will always remain. It will always be our societies, our home, and our collective voice will be the key to securing our future in the creative ecosystem. Creative is part of everyone's life. You either create or you enjoy other people's creations. Creativity is the soundtrack of every human being's life journey. Let's not forget that. And let's make sure we keep reminding people that the gift of creativity should not be taken for granted. The syndicate of the forces of intelligence has prevailed since 1926. It will continue to do so for as long as creators continue creating. So here's the past 90 years, and here's to the next 90 years. The life of a creator is not a full-time hobby. In music, most songwriters are not recording artists or performers. They don't tour, they don't get endorsement deals, and people are not really buying CDs anymore. That makes the revenue that songwriters receive from streaming royalties when people listen to our music online more and more important to our livelihoods. Right now, for instance, 1 million streams of a song on Pandora only earns the songwriters $90 on average. And that then has to be split with publishers too, unfortunately. Even if you write a hit song that's streamed millions of times, you're still not going to earn enough to pay the rent from streaming. And that's where the entire industry is moving if we don't do anything. And a similar kind of situation is also existing for filmmakers, photographers, graphic artists. We're all in the same boat today. And there is a big difference between availability and accessibility. Before freedom of expression, there is the concept of expression. People dedicating their lives to express human emotions through music, visuals, words, it has a huge value. Nothing is free on the internet. On the web, the internauts are not only the clients, but they are the products. Each time you go there, your profile is studied to learn how to make you a better product. We know GAFA companies are giants, but remember of MySpace a few years ago. It was the grail of the internet, and it doesn't exist anymore. Facebook and others could become the next ones. And this is where we should insist on. If people understand that these companies are not respecting the fundamental rights of paying the creators content, their image can be affected quite quickly. We are not going to give up. We are the future. If you touch one of us, you touch all of us. If you steal one of us, you steal all of us. Thank you.